thanks everyone for coming out. First of all, I want to say this is Building the Sales Machine. This is a group that we put together for founders and VPs and everyone who's running sales machines at their companies to hopefully get some great ideas and knowledge share and problem solve with each other. So hopefully you guys have been able to get some good stuff so far. Every quarter, we also try and bring in someone who has some incredible things to offer the community, mostly selfish questions that me and my co-organizers had that we can get taken care of, and then hopefully some stuff that you guys have as well. So, before I introduce Craig, thanks to also our sponsors who help us put this on. That's Scaled, it's Closer IQ, it's Sales Loft, Splash, and Fuda, and of course Zocdoc, where we are today. Big thanks to those guys. And also thanks to my co-organizers, Eric Friedman from Expa, Evan Bartlett from a place called Zocdoc, and Sam Jacobs of The Muse. So thanks, guys. And a big thanks to Craig Rosenberg for coming out here. Craig's from Topo, flew all the way out from San Francisco to see our beautiful faces. And yeah, first of all, thanks, Cole. So we're going to try our best to get pretty tactical here, but I'd first like to let Craig give a little bit of a background on what is Topo and why you're here and how you got into it, just to give us some context.
Yeah, sure. I'm just trying to figure out, though, am I now taller than you?
You want me to go higher?
Well, no, I think I can do this. Hold on. Yeah? All right, cool. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. My name is Craig Rosenberg, and I'm the chief analyst and co-founder for a company called Topo. We're a research, advisory, and consulting firm based in the San Francisco Bay Area. And what we do is we study high-growth companies. So when we founded the company, we kept, we weren't sure what we were going to do, and we were talking to sales and marketing organizations, and the common thread was always people wanting to know what the best companies in the world were doing. And so that was why we founded Topo, and it's actually worked pretty well. Now today we study high-growth companies in marketing, sales development, and sales. We have over 200 customers that either purchase annual memberships, which gets access to our data and our analysts, or they hire us to do strategic consulting. We also do events like this. Our big event is the Topo Summit, which is March 18th through 20th, and we hope to see everyone there. But no lobbying. Also, yeah, by the way, and Alex Estevarena from my team is here as well. He's the one, if you talk to him, he will try to sell you stuff. If you talk to me, it's all good. You can talk to me about anything. But Alex over there, when you go talk to him, he will try and sell you something.
Great setup. Yeah, so this is going to be probably a little bit different from you guys have been to Building the Sales Machine before. Rather than just getting into the background and talking to sales leaders from the area that have been there, done that, I have seen Craig speak a couple of times, and every time I come away saying, oh my God, my hands hurt from writing down so many notes, and there's so many actionable things here. So I reached out to him to see if he would share some of that stuff with us. So it's going to be a lot of the questions that I had about how to build a sales team, and then hopefully we can work in your guys' questions as well as we go through it. What type of firms do you typically work with, just before we get started?
So we're primarily B2B, primarily tech, and the size of company really ranges. I mean, we have, we work with the Oracles, LinkedIn, Googles, ServiceNows of the world, all the way down to Series B type companies. So we have a wide range in terms of where they are in their scale, but primarily B2B, primarily tech.
Great, okay. And so as I was first introduced to Craig and to Topo, it was under the account-based sales guys, or the account-based marketing. And I had heard about account-based marketing 18,000 times over the last year or two. And Craig, can you tell us, I now know, but what is account-based marketing? Why is everyone talking about that? What does it mean at a really high level?
Yeah, I have no idea anymore. it is the buzzword of the minute, but it is real. And let me just make a couple comments before I sort of talk definitionally. So when we started our marketing practices about 2 years ago, we knew the ABM, account-based marketing movement was started. So we focused exclusively on account-based. And what we learned really quickly was that successful account-based is not siloed in marketing. It's actually an organizational-wide decision that spans all the customer-facing organizations across marketing, sales development, sales, CS, executive team, et cetera, to deliver a personalized, customized experience against a specific set of target accounts. But the issue with just being ABM, so ABM, when we first started researching, ABM programs weren't working because it was marketing in isolation. The only time it worked was when sales said, if you get us into these target accounts, we got it from here. When you have that, that's a simple way to put, right? And you say, okay, well, then the whole organization is going to go after these target accounts. That's account-based, that's successful, that's what's working, that's not a trend. That's been around for, 30 years. I don't know, I made that number up, I have no idea. But it's been around for a long time. The issue was that we got so good at volume and velocity, lead nurturing, content marketing, inbound marketing, and it's not to say that stuff's not awesome, but it's not targeted. And so the miss was always that, we would go out and we'd do this marketing from a marketing perspective, and maybe 15% would come in and be a fit in how sales thinks about it. And it was that merger of sensibilities that's led to the new account-based movement today. And it's hot. And for companies that commit to it across all organizations, it works. And it's been like some serious lift in their, not just deal cycle time, conversion rates, revenue, et cetera. So I think something's only a trend if everyone talks about it and nobody does it and gets any value. I think it's still a trend because there's still lots of people talking about it and not doing anything about it. But the people that are doing it, they're seeing real value today.
And why do you think this has come up recently? We keep getting these trends in marketing. Why do you think this has been catching so much steam lately?
Yeah, I would say, it's almost like the chickens coming home to roost, right? Like it was like 2001 we first used the word conversion rate, right? So like we've gone through this massive metamorphosis in digital marketing, and it's been awesome, right? But it wasn't targeted. And so the issue was, like, here's a perfect example. So we got brought into a company by sales. Sales said, demand gen sucks. So, okay, great. So we sent the demand gen people in. They come in, and demand gen's like, how do we suck? We deliver 10,000 leads a month, right? Okay, well, let's look at the leads. Leads, eyeballing them, but pretty much they look okay. The issue was they were getting all, their nurturing was working, they're doing webinars, they're doing events, they're doing content, et cetera. But then when we said, okay, well, what converts? And it was a set of verticals, it was like 4 verticals, and we matched that against what the leads that were being brought in were. It was only 15%. So that's why, even though there was all this stuff coming in that fit lead scoring definitions and all these things, they even got through sales development filters as people that wanted to hear more, or even had BANT. They weren't converting because that product, that solution, worked best for a certain type of companies. And that was where the miss was. So marketing was doing the right thing, right? It's just that we needed to come back and figure out, well, great, we're doing all this stuff, but how do we get targeted? Because I think the thing we learned over time was things like scoring, et cetera, was about what people are doing, but fit is trumping what people are doing. Fit is more important. We got to find fit first, then we try to get them engaged, and that was the miss. We were getting people engaged. That's why there was all these arguments, like marketing come back to sales development. It's like, why don't you follow up? It's a parakeet shop that I know, but they wanted to buy, right? And sales is like, this isn't a lead, but it follows this definition, and they downloaded all this content, right? But if we came back and said AT&T's on your target list and they're ready to meet, nobody can argue. So that's where the miss was. I think that was your question. I talked a lot. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
That was it, right? Okay,
I think
cool.
that was my question, too.
All right,
And
cool.
so how many people here have heard about account-based marketing or account-based sales before? And how many people are currently running what might be considered an account-based program? Okay, cool. So that was the
He
hope
raised his hand first.
for this
My
conversation.
man.
Yeah.
He gets that award. Remember the award we had for?
Yeah.
Cool.
Good.
I like this guy.
See Craig after class. And so at Splash, when I was running sales at Splash, this is exactly what we did. We had all this inbound funnel coming in, but we actually looked at our best accounts, saw which accounts we could grow into the most, and totally redesigned our entire playbook to say we should just be going after the accounts that can grow the highest, that we can get into maybe the easiest, or maybe even take some extra work to do, but it makes the most sense, so we go. So we started kind of with the customer success first and moved our way out, and it was pretty transformative to our business. So again, that's why we brought Craig in, hoping that we could share a lot of these strategies with you guys. So what we try to do, and I don't know that we always accomplish it, but what we try to do here is to stay out of the kind of high-level background talk and get really tactical. So, I know you brought some slides with you here that could be helpful. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Here, I'll give this to you. Sure. And, hoping that we could actually dive in a little bit deeper on, what is account-based marketing? How can we use it? What are some ideas or some brainstorms that people can actually take away with them today?
Yep. So I do have slides. I do want to make a comment before we go. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're
cool.
Yeah.
I know. I just worried because I just talked for like 20 minutes on one question. I didn't even remember the question. So one is, look, I've the account-based sales thing makes me really uncomfortable because I don't know any other way. Like for me, it's this idea of the account-based strategy across the board makes a ton of sense. But when people come to me and we want to become account-based sales, I'm like, what were you doing before, right? We sell to accounts as salespeople, but anyway, the difference though, there is one big difference, okay, and that is when you're moving from a volume game to an account-based game. In a volume game, we get lots of leads and we go, I don't like this one, I like this one, marketing, go get me more. In account-based, if it's on the account list, you're going to turn them into revenue. You're on the hook. That's what we plan to go do. And so that is different, right? Because, if you're inside sales and there's a volume and velocity machine in front of you, SDRs will filter, throw things out, then you get it, filter, throw it out, say these leads suck, go get me some more, you go get some more, you're not in bad shape. This one is different, right? And so that's important. That's why we say it's a thinner funnel. Now, a lot of the things that work in quote-unquote account-based selling are fundamental sales techniques. That said, we've seen some really cool things that I'm sharing with you guys today. Remember, one of the things on account-based is marketing is the silo is broken. They're not just there to get you MQLs. They are on the hook to work with you across through net new sale to cross-sell, upsell. And that opens the doors to some really creative things, right? The other thing is, just generally speaking, right, sales leaders, we used to do this. We used to say we'd focus on prospecting, the top of the funnel, say, get us more leads. Then the end of the funnel, what are you going to close this month? We forgot the middle. We always say, hey, I hire good guys, give them a bag, hey, go hit your number, right? We didn't take a step back and say, well, what are we really doing in each of these steps? And now we all get to do it. So marketing's involved and execs are involved. We're all looking at the plays that happen in the funnel, and we're inventing exciting things, and that's some of the things I want to share with you today. So I think there's good ideas, there's fundamental ideas, and they're kind of fun. Definitely at the end of the funnel stuff, I've got some fun stuff. All right, so you can see here I got a thin funnel, and I kind of broke it up as so. You start with your target accounts, and you have this multi-channel orchestration. So one of the things is that's happened in the outbound SDR era is we send lots of emails that say, hey, we do this and this. We'd love to give you a demo. We send like 1,000 a day, some BS like that. You can't do that if you've got 1,000 accounts, right? We have to be thoughtful, personalized, and customized. And we have to be thinking about what's the value of a one-to-one engagement with me on that first meeting. So we're talking about high-value plays to get first meetings and second meetings versus hoping for a demo or the trick we think works where we say, hey, I'm going to be in town. Can we get coffee? That doesn't work. Well, maybe it works on some people. Actually, we should do a study on people that fall for the I'm going to be in town, let's get coffee for 10 minutes to see if they actually convert. They probably don't. And then we'll go from those high-value, top-of-the-funnel plays to just a look at traditional sales plays and how you can customize them and personalize them, and then some fun stuff at the end. Okay? Okay, so initial engagement. So I talk about I'd love to get 15 minutes to learn more about your business, translation to the buyer. I'd love 15 minutes to tell you more about my business. We want to think about high value. And when we say an offer is what can we offer them that would be all about everything for them in that first meeting. So we want to flip the script. Because even if you say, I want to learn for 15 minutes about your business, that's still so you can sell them. Right? So it's a different point of view. This change, for many of the companies that have done this, significant lift. Right? It changes everything you do. You get a 50 account target list. Really? We're going to keep bugging them until they take a demo with us? No, we got to think, what is that high value thing we can offer? So let me give you a couple examples. This one is what we call full custom. This was a B2C focused, I believe, on e-commerce companies. Custom research report, marketing creates the template. Sales development goes through, does about 6 or 7 hours of research, does screenshots, does data capture, puts it in and creates a custom report for the customer before they reach out. So think about that. Instead of sending them that horizontal white paper, 50 reasons your data center is so messy and how we can clean it up or whatever you want to do, we say, we've done research on you, and we'd love to talk to you about it. That is an offer that is of interest to them. And you take a chance here, it's worth it. This is for full custom, highly targeted types of accounts.
And so in that type of... I think this is an amazing idea. Seems like a lot of work.
Yeah.
So in this type of situation, a marketing team is going to create a base template.
Yes.
Of the report, and it's on the SDRs to kind of Mad Lib fill in the details, or how does it work?
Yeah. So marketing should create a template for this, please. Right. I mean, with all due respect to all of us in the room, we should not be creating stuff that's supposed to look nice. Then what they'll do is they'll say, here are the 15 sections that you want to fill out, and here's how you go look it up, right? Or 10 or 3. There's another example where it's 4, right? And you set it up so that it's easily customizable by anybody. It could be the SDR, it could be sales, and then that creates that product. But yeah, marketing has to sort of queue it up.
Got it. And so. To me, this is kind of a new idea, especially at a lot of the companies I've been working with or seeing. Who's the right marketer to hire for that type of role?
To help create this stuff?
What's the background of a marketer that would help create these type of reports? Where are you seeing the best fit there?
Oh, well, that's a shock. That's a question that was not on the list you sent me. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, that's a good question. Well, I will say one thing is that the account-based movement has been kind of a renaissance for old school marketers because we got so marketing became about joysticks, quantitative, right? Do you use Marketo or whatever? And now sort of the art. This is bringing back art forms. What most companies do is they've got an account, either a pursuit marketer or account-based marketer who is in charge of it. Those people will use things like agencies, right? But you kind of want to have someone who's not just all quant. You have to have someone who has a history of creating campaigns, right? There's not a ton of historical people that have done this, but you need people that have created things that required art, not just science, right? And so that's why, the role is reemerging. Field marketing is being renamed into account-based for some people. I mentioned the word pursuit marketer. That's not catching fire, but it's out there. But these people are in charge of account-based. Their backgrounds are in both creative and in demand gen, and a lot of times in events if they came out of field marketing. But the key is they got to have a mix of art and science.
Got it. That's helpful. This is a lot of this is, maybe prevalent in San Francisco, but probably new for. Maybe we get the second wave of a lot of this stuff over here, so it's new and it's interesting to go through. Thanks.
Yeah, I wouldn't say. By the way, don't give San Francisco that much credit, right? Those
San Luis Obispo,
they take lots of credit. Yeah, San Luis Obispo is way up there. The one company there is doing really well. But look, these are from very advanced account-based programs. San Francisco companies are picking this up too. So here's a more scalable one where it was a BI company, I believe, analytics company, and what they did was they targeted pharmaceuticals, and what they did to really narrow it down was they chose a division, right, which is really smart, you guys. If you're going to go do custom campaigns, the more you can narrow it down, the better. And so they went after the diabetes division, so they created a report using their own product on diabetes. But the key was it wasn't about the medical issue, it was about the brands in the space. So they made a report that had names of the brands in the space. You've now changed the conversation of, hey, let's go meet so I can sell you something and it's all in it for me, to this is your job to find out what I have, right? And so this was really cool. So they created these reports. They could do it at scale. It was a one-to-many report. There's nothing custom in there. And they put all of their marketing, all of their account-based advertising, all their SDR outreach, everything was about, hey, come, we'd love, just have this report, take it. You don't have to fill out a form, we don't care, just take it, right? And we'd love to talk to you about it. Now we've changed everything. So we've given them this value, it's about themselves, especially the ones that finished like third and fourth in the brand ratings. Those are the people that want to understand where you came up with your numbers. And then, that actually, these guys couldn't get meetings for the life of them. As anybody who's doing BI or analytics, it's so hard to sell and get meetings, right? Because you can do anything. This brought a lot of focus. It brought a lot of meetings to the table. The goal on stuff like this is you get the first meeting to talk about something valuable to their business, and at the end they say, well, well, tell us more about how we can work together. That is the ultimate here, is that you provide so much value that they feel they owe it to you to say, well, we didn't spend a lot of time talking about you. Can you tell us more about you? This stuff works. And here's the easier one for all you guys who just want to get started. First, let me just say this. There's a difference between a use case and a case study. Case studies suck. Okay? They're made by product marketing. They are features, function, bells, and whistles. They do nothing except at the end of the sales cycle when IT tries to get involved, we need something that they can see. But if you want to interest people, you have to tell them a story, a business story, and you can do that. See, so these other examples here, cool, hard, right? This, you have customers, let's create a story. So this works great, and I'll just divert for a sec. On the SDR front, everyone's talking about personalizing SDR outreach. That's hard as hell too, right? Only 10% of your SDRs can customize their outreach. The easiest thing we've seen is to find peers and to talk about use cases. That is the use case here, where you can take what your customers have done and turn it into a business story, right? It's methodology, it's change management, it's process, it's key initiatives, right? It's not, hey, and then they used us. This you do it so you can laugh. Well, maybe you won't laugh. You'll react to this somehow inside. We help so and so raise their ... 30% by using our product, right? Insert product here. Instead, we're saying, in this one, this use case was, we'd love to talk to you how Microsoft changed the way that they viewed, optimized, right, and analyzed their ad spend. We'd love to tell you about that. Boom, right? So it's just a use case, not a case study. right? That meeting request, that works. The content's there. Go talk about it. So anyway, if you want to talk about what should I talk about in the first meeting, tell them you want to tell them about something that's, that relates to them. So when you're at Splash, I'd say, hey, I'd love to tell you about, what Eventbrite and some of these other guys are doing, right? It's like that's the kind of use case story close to peers that you want to go do. Now, I just want one other warning, which is everyone always goes, oh, that's a great idea. We have this great use case from GE. Because everyone assumes you want to tell the story of the biggest customer you have. That's not true. You want to tell the story of the customer most like the ones you're reaching out to, right? So I was working with a company that sold to county and city governments. They learned the hard way that county and city governments don't give a crap about anybody outside of their vicinity. So they just did land and expand. They would get one, and then every campaign was about everyone within 100 miles. Right, that's the kind of stuff we're talking about here from a use case perspective.
Do you have any insight into the delta on saying Microsoft against kind of white labeling a blinded case study, a big tech player? Does that work at all?
Yeah, it works fine as long as the story is good and unique, right? I mean, if you go and tell them, hey, we'd love to tell you how they use copy machines to increase their print production, the guy's going to be like, get the hell out of here, right? But if you come with, the story I just told you didn't need to say Microsoft. I could have said, you know what, there's a new way people are tracking their ad spend. Nobody else is doing it, but only the top player in the game's doing it. I just want to tell you about that for 15 minutes. That's compelling. Well, maybe some of the people in the ad tech space are like, that's not that compelling. But it's better than, hey, we're going to be in town for coffee, let's go do a demo and see if I can't get you in this car by the end of the day, right? So like you can white label stories as long as the story's good, as long as your narrative is good, as long as even if you're talking in sort of without naming names, you're still describing the protagonist, describing their member company, setting up the challenge, right? Talking about the solution in a product-centric way. That stuff works and people want to hear about it.
Great. This is really helpful. I'm taking too much time because I'm asking you all these questions.
No, it's fine. I'm probably
let's keep rolling. And so we get how to get the meetings. Then what? How do we actually take the ball from there and make it useful? A lot of the things that my reps had a really hard time with was after we get the meeting, how do we keep people engaged through the demo?
Yeah. Pardon me while I hydrate.
Yeah.
It's interesting, these waters are so small. You kind of got to have 2 or 3. No offense, whoever running the event. Yeah, it's fine. But I just noticed how small these are. You got to drink 2 or 3 of them. All right, so here we go. So let's talk about that. So multi-stakeholder plays. All right, so here's this one. So I love everything I'm about to talk about, but one thing I have noticed is that conversion rates from the first meeting into an earnest sales process are bad. A real one, right? So I'm sure you could say that they're not, right? But that's because sales reps will convert into an opportunity and just sit there, right? But if we're talking about that first meeting and getting into the second meeting, which often needs to include multiple stakeholders, that is a problem. Nobody's willing to admit it. We got to get it out of them. It's like this latent pain. It's like, oh my God. Even come back, it's like you're in the meeting, the sales rep's like, oh my God, we had a great meeting. They're so into it. Awesome, what are the next steps? Well, they're going to look over some documents and then I got to go follow up with them and set up another meeting. It's like, you're dead, right? So what do we do? How do we change everything? How do we move from just sending in the deck and the data sheet to turning into something that's really valuable that allows us to continue the conversation and move us through the other stakeholders? So step 1 is old school. You got to do discovery. You've got to figure out what are the roles of, what's the role of the people involved? What are their objectives, challenges, and implications? If you don't know that, you can't do anything I'm about to tell you. By the way, if you don't do that, you're not good at sales. No offense, but you're not. So here's a couple plays. So one is this one I love, and actually I'm going to change this out. There's a company in New York, Ambra Health. Do you know those guys? They're doing something like this, a play like this as well. So what they do is basically, this example is very specific. This was a company that did client-server software audit solutions. So you know what that is? That's a client-server product that tells you if you're about to get audited for licenses by SAP and Oracle. You cannot get less sexy than that, right? And so here's what happens. So you go in there and salespeople, they get to a IT manager, and that person's got the pain. So they're like, oh man, we need this, right? And this was primarily city governments, county governments, not the same one I mentioned before, state government, it was government thing. And then they go to their boss, and their boss doesn't want to talk about it, right? You're the CIO, you want to talk about big, exciting things. You do not want client-server audit software. So here's what they did. So sales could get the first meeting, and what they were doing is, in a good discovery, they were asking, 5 or 6 questions. So what marketing did was they took the 5 or 6 questions, okay, and they turned it into a readiness assessment. Nothing changed in the sales rep's process. They would have these toggles here to give it a rating, okay? So red, bad, green, good, orange, the middle, right? All of this other stuff was templatized. You would put the company name in, maybe their logo. So they go through the discovery, and then they go create this document, which was a readiness assessment. Here's the beautiful thing. So before, they were sending a deck, right? Imagine what that deck looked like. Software audits. Have you been audited by SAP yet? Time's coming, it's just the worst, right? Now they're saying, okay, well, look, we looked at your company. We have 5 factors we look at. They're just discovery questions. And you guys have a 90% risk that you'll be audited in the next year, and it's going to cost you this much money. So now, when their champion goes to the CIO and goes, hey, I want to buy audit software, get out of my office. Okay, thanks, I'm out of here. Now they go in and they go, hey, man, we got a problem. And here's this. If you don't mind, take a look at it. It's one piece of paper, right? The second meeting conversion changed. Here's the other thing they did that was great. So sales reps are smart, right? So if their champion was too weak to go bring that to their boss, they just sent it to the boss. They'd say, hey, we did this. We looked into your company. Here's your risk assessment. Let me know if you want to talk about it. So that's called champion content, and it's brilliant. All the content we create is at the top of the funnel. The stuff in the middle is data sheets, bad case studies, and a deck. That's all we do. That's not that great, right? Well, you need data sheets, all this stuff. Of course you need it. But how do we use content in the middle of the funnel? I love this stuff. So I was talking about Amber. They're in New York. This has been a game changer for them. At events, they'll invite people to come get their assessment. They've got the highest rate of people coming to their booth that they've ever had. And now they have an action item. How many times have you met someone at an event, and now an SDR's got to send their 12-touch cadence just to get them back on the line? What if you did an assessment and you ended up with something really valuable that had a reason for you to have another conversation? The other thing I wanted to mention is insight-driven workshops. These are for enterprise-class companies. This was a customer experience company, and what they would do for their big clients is they would offer to come in, bring their experts in, and do a workshop on their customer experience process today. Okay, it was a high value. It can be run by the salesperson, but they got to bring in experts. So this is an old trick. If you guys know SAP, they got the value engineering team. It's the same idea, right? Where they go and they do this. We have experts that go and look at your business, right, and come back and provide that value back to you. In this case, this is a highly interactive workshop play. We've seen this in the data storage game. Like a lot of ex-EMC guys have been doing these things where it's, workshops on, come in and we'll go whiteboard what you're doing. Seen it in open source where they'll come in and say, oh, you're running Scala or whatever. Let's go in and put that on the whiteboard. We can give you some recommendations, et cetera. That's the idea here. So this was a customer experience one. Here's my favorite part. So look at that. That's a real picture of what was happening in the workshop. Sorry, you guys are looking that way. Don't look there. You're looking there. You're okay. Okay, everyone else, well, it's a little, those are people there, if you can't see that. And those are Post-its. Those people are actually outlining what their customer experience process is. That's like salespeople are just walking out of the room and they've got the whole thing figured out. And the client gave it to them happily. Those people are happy as hell. I mean, this guy, I don't know. He's he's really tense. But these people are having a great time just putting stuff up there, and they're talking about their business. I mean, it's a great play for enterprise class customers, especially if you have a great story to tell. So generally speaking, I talked about this just really quick. Even if you don't do the two things I told you, if can we create something, can we train sales? Can we create content for them that allows them to come out of discovery and now make plays? Because think about this. So one of the things in account-based marketing gets to come to the table. My first sales and marketing merged meeting, marketing walks out and she's like, holy crap, you mean they knew what was happening at the account the whole time? Think about this. Marketing has to guess. It's not fair, right? They got to go, ooh, so they downloaded this content. They must want this one. Now, granted, in the new AI world, maybe those things will be solved, but right now they're just guessing. Guess what? Sales has their first meeting. We know they want to open expand overseas. We know they want to do X. We know what to market to. So mid-sales process campaigns are beautiful. And sales can do them themselves. All the plays marketing runs, direct mail, emails, SDR outreach, executive outreach. So let me just give you an example. I just talked about overseas expansion, right? So let's say that's what you find out. You're an MRP company. They're going to go open a new place overseas, right? Now we know. So we go get content that's already been created. Now we start a campaign. We have an exec reach out to their exec, say, I hear you're expanding overseas. We'd love to talk to you about what we've learned. Now we go out to all the other stakeholders. Hey, here you're going overseas. Take this guide to moving overseas, and we'd love to talk to you about it. You see what I'm saying? So once we learn stuff, then we can be really effective. And I love that stuff. I love mid-sales funnel campaigns.
So, yeah, Craig, I know we're...
Are we out of time?
We're going to run out of time. We want to talk about, okay, how do you become a chosen partner? You're going to have to go find Craig to find a lot of that stuff. I do want to open it up to questions. And the one thing that I found so interesting at the last talk I see you do was a lot of the ideas around actually bringing the deal home and after the deal and some of the fun stuff that you shared. So wondering if you just share one or two of those stories, and then we can open up to questions from you guys.
Yeah, I mean, so are you talking about the bacon play?
Yeah,
that's
exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah. It's fun. I mean, when I heard the bacon play, I'm like, oh, that's amazing. Yeah, it's just remember, conceptually, one of the things we're trying to do is we're trying to take things that we just put on the backs of salespeople and figure out how we can go help, right? So, we think of end of funnel plays. So, the bacon play was a security company, and what they would do is if a client went dark with 1 week left in the corner, they could press a button in Salesforce and they'd send the buyer a pound of bacon, right? And now they're not going to buy because they got a pound of bacon. And there's many people you probably shouldn't sell bacon to, right? But or a pound of it too. And not only don't send me bacon, but a pound. Come on. So but it triggers. It's different than you calling. You know how it is. I'm these poor sales guy. You listen to the end of the quarter. It's like I called the guy 15 times. They won't call me back. I emailed them. I tried them at home. I waited for him in the parking lot. All this stuff. It's like, can we run plays at the end? So like Gainsight. I remember that they used to send pizza to the end of the quarter sales meeting, right? Just little touches like that. It's not going to help you close the deal. The biggest issue is engagement at the end of the deal. And so can we think about fun stuff like that? You should just have fun with it. I mean, I think I told you when you were there, I told the story about the guy knew that I loved the brisket at the Good Company in Houston. And I had ignored him probably for a month and a half. I have no idea how he even thought that he would close the deal with me. But whatever. He sent me the brisket, literally cooked with the Texas cheese bread and hot sauce from the Good Company with 5 days left in the quarter. So I had to take his call. Now, unfortunately, he got on the call and I had to tell him he didn't have a deal. But he couldn't reach me before. And then he gives me this. I'm like, oh, man, dude, I got to call this guy back. And so I actually called him anyway. It's just little things like that. I'm not saying you got to send food. I'm not saying you got to be corny. But can we think outside the box and help salespeople get engaged with people at the end of the quarter?
Yeah. I mean, this stuff is amazing. Hopefully you guys are are seeing some of this too. The thing that I get the most frustrated with is the same people doing the same things over and over again, both as a buyer when I get the stuff flooding my inbox, and also when I go into companies and try and help them, and everyone's doing the same copycat stuff. So when I heard Craig throwing all this knowledge at me, I said that's exactly where things need to be going. So I want to give a little bit of time for you guys to answer questions. We didn't get to kind of half the stuff that we wanted to go over, so hopefully you guys will be able to connect with Craig as well, or just kind of open your heads and brainstorm about how you can use some of this stuff. Does anyone have any burning questions that they'd like to ask to the big man? We have a floating microphone.
Oh,
this is very much upgraded from our last couple of events. Be honored.
Hi, Craig. I'm in the middle of building an inbound sales org, and we're starting with hiring SDRs. And I'm just kind of wondering, given this approach, what would you look for in SDRs for organizations you consult with?
Well, are you going to be account? I mean, if you're doing inbound, you're going to be account based.
Right.
What do you sell?
It's a B2B demand gen software.
So, like, who would you sell to? Like
Marketing departments at major enterprise companies.
So at big companies, yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't know what it's like from a hiring environment out here, right? It's horrible in San Francisco on the SDR front, right? So you kind of got to. It's like the Donald Rumsfeld thing. You kind of got to go with what you got,
right.
now, and not with what you want. And but in this approach, I don't know that the only thing I'll tell you is like the churn and burn, sort of headbanger type guy that we used to like. In the past, it was like, it's okay if you played rugby, but I'm just saying that, for example, it's like, they played rugby, bring them in, they're going to be great. It's like, sorry, rugby players, we'll don't beat me up. I didn't mean it like that. But now we need thoughtfulness. We need the ability to write. The ability to write is a really big deal. And so I don't know that it's different. I always felt like people should have been looking for this in the first place.
Yeah.
But the idea of sort of just all action scoreboard stuff has to be balanced with the ability to write, the ability to listen, the ability to talk. It's hopefully the people you're going to want to hire for your sales team anyway.
Right. Thanks.
Any other questions? Man.
Oh, there he is. Yes. No. Okay, go ahead.
Just a quick question about how do you build that relationship with your marketing department to really break down those two silos and really bring that synergy between sales and marketing? And then a tip in terms of who to hire. I find mining college graduate journalism majors because those kids know how to ask questions and they're capable of doing the follow-up. That's what they've learned to do and can't make a nickel being journalists.
Totally. That's awesome. So breaking down the walls with marketing, man, it's funny. If I were at a marketing event, they'd be like, how do you break down the walls with sales? Isn't that funny? Like, we're both sides are like, hey, how do we talk to the other side? And that's why, please talk to Alex Estebrino right there. He'll help you. No, I'm just kidding. So look, here's the big thing that happens where account-based works is the numbers do most of the talking. And the key, like I said, for any account-based approach, the key is that we all agree that there's a targeted set of accounts, right? If we don't, usually it's going to fail, right? So like if sales believes there's a targeted set of accounts and marketing's still doing, the 50 reasons your data center is so dirty webinars and getting all consultants and SIs and stuff, everyone's gonna lose, right? Because nobody believes it. So the key is first is like, can we agree on what our ideal customer profile is? If we can agree on that together, then we go look at what are the programs today delivering against that. The numbers always work. The approach is not to be accusatory, obviously, because this is a real partnership. I'll tell you right now, in most cases, this is marketing hoping that sales will work with them because you have a real offer for marketing that they haven't had in a long time. Like, We can actually work together, and I will not argue with you about the quality of your leads. We will argue up front on who we should go target. That for marketing is really exciting, right? But you got that core idea that everyone agrees that this is the target account list, and that everyone can look at the programs that we're doing today and they're not working. That typically, frankly, it works great. I mean, seriously, because the numbers will tell you. I can guarantee anybody right now that of your average volume and velocity programs, the max you're getting against a highly contained target account list is 20% max, 10% on the low end. That's not going to be enough to go account-based. The good news is you can work off that. I mean, shoot, you do a 10% lift off that. I mean, that's like big money, right? If you choose your target account list right. So anyway, I hope that helps. Let the money do the talking.
Cool.
I like this guy.
Last question. What?
Okay,
Please.
so what kind of buyer are you, and what's important to you in the buying process? Like, what's the best way to sell you?
Me?
Yeah.
Dude, I am so easy. You can email me and I will email you back. Here's the deal, though. I will tell you if you suck at your email and your sales pitch. But I'm easy because I feel the pain and I love it. Like, I'm a big part of the game. But so I'm not normal like that, right? I will tell you this, but if you want to learn some insights, I have my voicemail box is full on my phone. Just that's Alex. It's true. Today, I was doing my Cub Scouts. I was selling popcorn with my kids. This guy looks at my phone and he saw 74,000 emails in my iPhone inbox. Email is still to date the best, but it's still a crapshoot. So I'm all in favor of multiple emails, not because everyone says, oh, and you're sort of building this mindset. No, it's because even if I ignored your first 10, it doesn't mean I'm not going to look at your 11th, right? You got to catch me. The best time to catch me is when I'm in between things at my kids' events on weekends. So like they're playing soccer, anybody's done it, like swim meets, man, like you gotta sit around. I mean, soccer games are like running around, warming up. I don't like talking to the other parents, right? Because all they talk about are their kids. So like send me an email and sell me something. I'm down with that. And then, I'm doing other stuff. They're doing things. I'm looking at my fantasy football team, pops in. There's an email from sales rep. I'll take a look at that. So Saturday and Sunday works great with the executives. Hope that helps. Is that helpful? Oh, buy? Well, shit, I don't buy anything, man. I think I'm like anybody else. I mean, if I'm open to new things that I didn't think about, as long as I see the narrative works with what I'm trying to do, right? So I'm not. Clear ROI is just so I can justify it with my boss. Does it fit into everything that we're trying to do today is more important. Like if you can fit into my story, right? So like here's the story at Topo. We're scaling like crazy. I have to hire people to do it. I've got this massive research function that's really hard to go do, right? We do lots of handcrafted outbound stuff. Any of those things that people want to solve, that's part of my narrative. As long as you can help get into my narrative, then I'm more likely to buy. The ROI stuff, that's just so I got to feel good. I got to feel like the story correlates to my story. Then when it does, then, and you want to do ROI stuff, I go to my boss and say, hey, he's like, well, what are we going to get? Oh, funny you should ask. It's 40%. But if you're going to sell to me and you say, I'm going to get you a 40% lift on ... I'm going to say, get out of here, kid, right? If you come to me and say, I know you're trying to do X, Y, and Z, and here's how we would fit in, and listen to this story we can go do together, that's the kind of stuff that gets me excited.
I think that's an amazing thing to end on. Hopefully you guys can get in touch with Craig. Here's how you do it. Also, he told me he'll hang around till 11:30 tonight.
Morning,
Yeah.
waking up in Toronto.
At least 15 more minutes to hang out here. And yeah, thanks again, everyone, for coming out. Thanks, Craig, for coming all the way out. And thanks to all the sponsors. We'll see you guys next quarter.
Thanks, everyone.
Oh, one last thing. Next quarter in January will be. I got really hyped on this account-based thing, so we're going to keep going with John Miller, who is the founder of Marketo and is actually now the founder of a new company called Engagio that focuses a lot about this account-based strategy, is going to join us and have amazing things to share. So look for that probably next week or so that you guys can get signed up there as well. And thanks a bunch. Hope this is helpful.